Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're reacting to How Good Was Wizards of Michael Jordan by Nonstop. I'm excited for this one, man. Y'all told me to take a deeper dive into Michael Jordan's Wizards career. I've recently been doing a big deep dive into Michael Jordan for the first time in my life. I'm an NBA fan, but really modern day, never really took a look at the legends, and so I've really been enjoying this, man. A lot of great conversations in the comments. I'm glad y'all are joining me on this journey, dude. I don't want to do it alone. That's why I'm doing it. Like, I could have watched these all on my own, but I'm doing it with you guys because it creates good conversation. It exposes me to a lot more. I want to be a historian of the game, and you can't do that on your own. You need other people to do it with you. So let's check out How Good Was Wizards Michael Jordan. I already know how good Bulls Michael Jordan was. I already know. I'm a LeBron fan, but I will tell you after what I've witnessed, Jordan's got the best argument for being the GOAT. Okay, so let's check out Wizards Jordan because this is often held against him that he wasn't very good as a Wizard. But let's see.
The Last Dance was one of the hottest documentaries this year.
Which I might do a reaction of. As long as Netflix doesn't freak out with me doing a reaction to their stuff, I'll do a Last Dance reaction.
Even though the real Last Dance of Michael Jordan happened 5 years after the story in the doc. In 2001, Jordan unretired for the second time and suited up in a blue Wizards jersey. Some people say that his 2 Wizards years tarnished his legacy, and some praised MJ even more. So what's the real truth? And how good was Jordan in Washington? Was he really washed? Or did he prove once more that he's the GOAT? Watch the rest of the video to find out.
I'm here to do it. I'm gonna find out.
After The Last Dance. In 1998, MJ and Phil Jackson went to the karaoke bar, and Jordan chose The Careless Whisper by George Michael and sang, "I'm never gonna dance again, the way I danced with you," looking gently in Phil's direction. Okay, I totally made that up, but Jordan indeed said that he wouldn't be playing unless it's for Phil Jackson, since the Bulls GM Jerry Krause didn't want to re-sign Phil, and Scottie Pippen wanted to get his first massive paycheck. The Bulls fell apart, and MJ fulfilled his promise and retired for the second time. And then in January of 2000, Michael came back to the NBA, but he didn't wear a jersey. Instead, he slipped into a suit and tie as a minority owner and president of basketball operations for the Washington Wizards.
I did not know that.
The team
I thought he just owned the Hornets. I didn't know he was a minority owner of the Wizards first.
Was bad and finished that year with a 29-53 record.
Homie said, "This team is so garbage, let me suit up for them."
And they got even worse next year with 10 wins less. But there was hope on the horizon. They got the #1 pick. MJ had the chance to get a blue chip prospect, and he famously opted for Kwame Brown, a #1 high school player in the country. Jordan saw something in Kwame, and he believed he is the cornerstone that will immediately turn the Wizards into a winning ball club. Also, he knew a guy pretty good at basketball, a guy who was on the floor with the team at every practice and who was itching to make another comeback. It's an itch that still needs to be scratched, and I want to make sure this itch doesn't bother me for the rest of my life. I'm just going to play the game of basketball that I love. It's not about the money. Indeed, it wasn't.
Dang, so MJ really came back to play with Kwame Brown? Isn't Kwame a big bust? No way Kwame was that good. Kwame Brown. 1.9. Okay, that was his last season. My bad, Kwame. I'm not going to do you like that. Career accolades, none. Absolutely none. So he just wasn't very good, huh? He averaged 10 on the Wizards. It's not too bad. But, like, if that's your maximum, sheesh. But, I know, I never knew the story of Jordan going to the Wizards. I was like, why the Wizards of all teams? But he was a minority owner. He was really locked in with the organization. I respect it.
About the money. Jordan the GM gave Jordan the player the smallest salary on the Wizards, and MJ gave all of it to the victims of the 9/11 terrorist attack.
Wow.
It really was just about the game for him.
That's beautiful.
And because of that competitive fire that never ceased to burn, and that voice in the head who kept telling him he is still better than the young guys who took over the league from him. How good were the Wizards? The Wizards had a young Richard Hamilton, who was in his 3rd year, and who was turning to be one of the most promising shooting guards in the league. And that was about it when it comes to quality players with potential. The rest were either older veterans on their way out, or young role players. Of course, there was also Kwame Brown, who, by the time the season started, was already crushed by Jordan, who insulted him at any chance he got. Jordan never changed his ways, And just like he trash-talked all of his opponents, teammates, and Jerry Krause, he was maybe even worse to Kwame.
Dang.
The 19-year-old kid couldn't take it, and he played with zero confidence and was basically unusable on the court.
Wow.
Nobody on the team averaged more than 10 points that year, other than Rip Hamilton and Jordan. The Wizards were the same team that won 19 games the year prior. Plus Jordan and Kwame. MJ thought it would be enough to be competitive, but he overstated his team and himself. Return of the Mac. Before the season,
Dude, poor Kwame Brown. I get it that Jordan doesn't like players who don't have that same competitive energy as him, but that's just brutal that you're like, yeah, this is the guy for our future, and then you just completely tear him down. Let me know if this is accurate, man, because they're not really providing much context, so I'm kind of curious if y'all know more about the Kwame situation.
Jordan was working tirelessly to get himself in shape. He trained every day with his personal trainer, Tim Grover, and held private training camps with various NBA players to get himself in game shape. So, when the season started, Jordan wasn't rusty. In the first 2 weeks of the season, Jordan scored over 30 in 4 of his 8 games.
Wow.
In the 9th, he poured 44 on the Jazz, picking up right where he left off in 1998.
For real,
After
dude.
the first 10 games, he averaged 27.4 points, 6.3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals.
That's still like top of the league elite,
And it seemed like he had never left,
especially in this dead ball era.
as his stats were virtually the same to the 1998 regular season. He was in the MVP race and made it easy for the world to fall in love with him once again. However, his play wasn't reflected in the team record, as the Wizards only notched 2 games in the win column. They started the season 5-12 and were at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Also, Jordan's stellar play at the beginning of the season wasn't sustainable at the age of 38. He was still Michael Jordan, but he wasn't Air Jordan anymore, or at least not all the time. And even though his totals were still looking good, Mike became an inefficient volume scorer on a bad team. He shot 40% in those first 17 games,
Oh, wow.
a landslide from his career average of 50%.
That's interesting, dude. From 50 to 40? That's surprising to me.
MJ was still fundamentally sound. He could still see every play, and he was still 6'6", strong and confident, but he didn't have the same speed, and he didn't have the legs under him to shoot efficiently. But if you know
Gotcha.
anything about Jordan, you know that he hates losing more than anything.
Yeah.
After those 17 games and a 5-12 record, the Wizards won 9 in a row. Then they
Dang.
lost a couple. And in the second of those 2 losses, MJ had the worst game of his career. In 25 minutes on the floor, he shot 2 out of 10 and finished the game with 6 points, which snapped his record 866 game streak of double-figure scoring,
Wow.
and the media went ballistic. After the game, Jordan was down on himself. On the bus ride from the arena,
6 points. How do you... Okay, because they said he was still making like 30-point games, 40-point games. That's surprising, man, because he wasn't retired that long, was he? I get it, man. If you retire... How old was he at this point? 40? It's still surprising to me that he got a 6-point game, but I guess it's not crazy.
he sat next to Doug Collins, whom he hired to be the coach, and asked him, "Do you think I can still play?" Collins said, "Yeah, of course. I only took you out because we were down by 25 in the 4th and wanted to keep you fresh for the next game."
Fair.
MJ was satisfied.
Okay,
And said
that's why he had 6 points. They took him out early.
he did the right thing, but he needed the confirmation and the assurance that his coach still believed in his abilities. 2 nights later, he responded in a big way. He scored the first 3 times he had the ball, and he finished the game with 51 points.
Oh my gosh. What a response. To go from 6 points to 51 just to prove that you still got it.
Going 21 for 38 from the field.
Wow.
He was the oldest player ever to score 50 in an NBA game. He followed that up with a 45-point,
Oh my
10
gosh.
rebounds,
What?
7 assists, 3 steal effort against the New Jersey Nets.
That's a Luka Doncic in his prime kind of game. You know what I'm saying? Dang.
Including scoring 22 points in a row during one stretch. In the game against the Cavaliers, the Wizards were down by a point with 1.6 seconds left.
What'd he do?
Michael then hit a mid-range jumper for the last buzzer beater of his career.
I saw this in my buzzer beater, Michael Jordan buzzer beater reactions. He had 2 buzzer beaters with the Wizards. 2 out of his 9. The fact that in 2 years with the Wizards, he got 2 of them, and then in 13 years with the Bulls, he got 7 of them, it's just crazy to me.
In a game against his former club, After enduring Ron Mercer's trash talk and having his jumper blocked, he responded by pinning Mercer's layup against the backboard with 2 hands and trash talking him on the way back up the court. It was a game-winning play, and one of the most spectacular blocks by Jordan, or anyone for that matter. It was even more impressive that it was done by a 39-year-old who spent his last 3 years playing golf, drinking, and smoking cigars.
Okay, 39-year-old who spent the last 4 years?
9-year-old who spent his last 3 years playing.
3 years, okay. I mean, 3 years out of the game is a long time, especially when you don't think you're coming back and you kind of let yourself go. That's crazy, dude, that he was still playing like this.
Golf, drinking, and smoking cigars. By the end of the season, Jordan notched back-to-back 40-point games, but also 4 more games where he failed to reach double figures. And that's where the answer lies about Jordan's time with the Wizards. Yeah, he could still play, and yes, he could still be dominant, but it wasn't the kind of dominance we grew accustomed to, and it didn't happen every game. Jordan finished the year early due to a knee injury that required surgery, and the Wizards didn't make the playoffs with a 37-45 record. MJ played 60 games in the 2001-02 season, and he averaged 23 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 5.2 assists.
It's not bad, dude. Like, genuinely, especially on a bum knee, that's not bad.
Those numbers look great in a vacuum, but when you look at Jordan's efficiency, you can quickly tell he didn't have an overly successful season. Jordan took 22 shots per game.
Oh, wow.
Far more than he should have.
Yeah, 22 shots a game for 23 points. That doesn't sound as good as I thought it would be.
For a player shooting 41% from the floor and 19% from 3. He was second to last in effective field goal percentage out of all players who qualified for the stat, and 169th out of 177 qualified for true scoring percentage.
Wow.
The real Last Dance.
Man, okay. Honestly, first impression so far, I guess that was the first season on the Wizards. He definitely was like miles worse than his Bulls, especially when you talk about the efficiency there. Like the fact that the man could still put up 50 in a game, 45 in a game, take his team who's bums on a 9-game winning streak, that in and of itself is impressive. But I genuinely thought going into this he was going to be better than the video has portrayed so far. It kind of seems like he had moments of greatness, like hit the game-winning buzzer beater, do the incredible two-handed block to save the game, 9-game winning streak, 51, 45, all this kind of stuff, but it's just not the same, you know what I mean? And it's sad. I wish he would have been on a better team. That way he didn't have to carry the load as much, and maybe he could have completed the season out without the knee surgery, but tough, dude.
In the offseason, Jordan the GM wanted to help Jordan the player. He traded the best young player on the team, Rip Hamilton, for a more experienced Jerry Stackhouse. Trading away Hamilton was a mistake. And Jordan once again proved his short-sightedness in making decisions. The team wasn't that much better, and the season went pretty much the same as the last. Jordan, who was a year older and was battling a lingering knee injury, still had some juice left, but he had to squeeze really hard to get a full cup. And it didn't happen all the time. He scored over 43 times, becoming the first 40-year-old to score over 40 in an NBA game. He also had 7 more games where he failed to score 10 points. His defense wasn't at the level it once was, and numerous players took the opportunity to put up numbers against Jordan, something that was unimaginable in previous years. Kobe dropped 55 on him after Jordan taunted him that he could wear the shoes but could never fill them. Michael was more rational with his shots.
You can wear the shoes, but you will never fill them. Dang.
In the second year, and shot 44% from the floor, and it was enough for 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.8 assists for the season. Jordan played in all 82 games.
Wow.
But once again, the team went 37-45 and didn't make the playoffs. The highlight of the year was definitely the All-Star game, where MJ was selected as a reserve after he rejected the offer from Allen Iverson and Tracy McGrady to take their starting spots. He ultimately accepted it from Vince Carter. At halftime, Mariah Carey performed a special tribute to him, donning dresses of both his rookie year Bulls jersey and his final year Wizards jersey, as his career highlights played on giant screens behind her. It was a proper send-off, worthy of a star that was Michael Jordan. In the game itself, MJ didn't shoot it particularly well, but he did.
Why could Jordan not hold off one more year to have a season versus Bron, man? That would have been perfect. Obviously, he didn't know, but that would have been pretty elite.
He scored 20 points, and most importantly, hit a tough fall-away jumper over Sean Marion to give the East the lead with less than 5 seconds to play. It appeared to be a game winner, but the West scored again and prevailed in overtime. Still, Jordan proved that he still belongs with the best players in the world,
Facts, dude.
at least for one game, even though it was clear he wasn't the best anymore. A mediocre dessert to a great meal. If you want a recap of Jordan's time with the Wizards, you'll get different answers, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
Jerry Stackhouse said that he wished he had never played in Washington, because everything was still going through Michael Jordan, even though it was obvious he wasn't the same player anymore. Kwame Brown was miserable during Jordan's years there, and his career would have certainly been better if he didn't play with MJ as a 19-year-old. The Wizards owner Abe Pollin wasn't thrilled with Jordan either, and he relieved him of his GM duties shortly after the last season of Jordan as a player. If we compare Jordan's last years to some of the other NBA greats, we'll see some similarities. The greatest players who ever did it, if they took care of their bodies, were still extremely effective at an advanced age. Tim Duncan was named to the All-NBA and All-Defensive team in 2015 at the age of 39. Kareem made the first team All-NBA in '86, also aged 39, and he averaged 26 points in the playoffs that year. Karl Malone averaged 28 and 5 at the age of 39, so it's not unusual that Jordan was still able to play. But maybe the best quote about Jordan's Wizards years came from his agent, David Falk. "I just don't think it was a good dessert to a great meal." In the words of De La Soul, Mike was certified hot, and then he dropped to lukewarm. However, that last 2 years didn't affect his legacy, and the unathletic Jordan, who had to pump fake 3 times to get a separation for a shot, was soon forgotten. People like to remember the good things, and the lasting image of Jordan will always be that shot over Russell and celebrating his 6th title with a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah, man, I don't blame him for coming back for those last couple of years. He had that itch. He would have regretted it if he never came back. So I don't judge him for it. I know some people probably do, but honestly, dude, it's impressive that he came back. To me, the most impressive things, he played 82 games that last season. He averaged over 20 points per game for both of them. Even though the efficiency was pretty low, it's still impressive that a 40-year-old who is basically the captain of the team, because that team had nobody, dude. You're telling me Jerry Stackhouse and Kwame Brown were the best players he played with? Nah, dude. But yeah, man, I don't know. It is a bummer to see him go out like that, where it just wasn't the same Jordan, but it still has its perks. So either way, the reason I said it'd be cool if he played one more season and play against LeBron is because he's played against Kareem, he's played against Magic, Bird, he's played against Tim Duncan, Kobe, Shaq. Like, it just would have been cool if he added Braun to that as well, because these are a lot of the top, 10 players of the league, however you want to rank them. Obviously, he didn't play against Bill Russell. He didn't play against Wilt Chamberlain. Or did he? No, there's no chance, right? No. They played in the 60s. No way they still played when he was around in the 80s. Anyway, yeah, man, this is cool. He wasn't as good as I thought maybe he was. I've heard negative things from him just from, the media. But, as far as him as a Wizards player, and it definitely wasn't great. But I think it was cool to see some flashes of greatness that still existed in there. So, how good was Wizards Jordan? As it says, it depends on who you ask. I'm curious what y'all think down in the comments below. How good do you think he was? Does this video paint it well? Did it kind of miss a few important things? I think it did a good job in showing, his highlights, the 50-point games, the 40-point games, the buzzer beater, the game-saving block. The fact that he played all 82 one season. But let me know if you think it missed anything important. I appreciate y'all who are joining this journey with me. MJ is the GOAT, but he wasn't with the Wizards, and it's sad to see that. I wish he could have been a little bit better. Maybe if he just had a better team, he would have been able to elevate to the next part. But anyways, thanks everybody for watching. Hope you have a great day, night, whatever time of day it is for you. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Deuces!